She told the congregation after I spoke that Sunday, she told the congregation, she said, I haven't heard an in-depth sermon like that before in 30 years. And so they asked me to come back. Mm-hmm. So I went back, and then they just kept asking me to come back. And they said, well, would you like to fill in as my interim pastor until we finish this affiliation process and we're able to find someone? So I said, yes, sure. And then they finally, when they disaffiliated in January of 24, yeah, I began at 24, because just January, 2 years. Yeah. And they said, well, how would you like to be our full-time pastor? And I said, I'll pray about it first, and then the Lord, and I told God, I do not want to be a pastor. I do not want to be a pastor. But anyway, I'll get to that too. I'll get to that storyline too. And when I first became the pastor, I was working a job in Indiana. So I would leave Indiana about lunchtime on Fridays, and I would drive all the way back to the city, and I would do my honeydews on Saturday, and then go preach on Sunday mornings, and then leave going back after the sermon on Sunday afternoon. But God has done amazing things, and it's only because of God it's been done. When I first got there, like I said, the church was hurting. It only had 8 people coming. Now we're averaging around 30 to 35 on Sunday mornings. We're now just not having Sunday morning services. We're having Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night services. So and we have events that now going on. I mean, we're putting together. We really have if any one of y'all like cornhole, we're gonna have a cornhole tournament there probably next spring when the spring comes around. And but we do every first Sunday of the month. On our evening services, we do a fellowship Sunday where we offer, bands or quartets. We've had quartets come. We've had bands come there, do singing, and after that singing, we do, we go down to fellowship hall and eat. Food draws everybody, right? So we go down to fellowship hall and we eat, just have fellowship. We just have a good time. It's great. I appreciate y'all with me there. I've had to do a lot of repenting from not wanting to be a pastor at first, but anyway, that's where we're at. And today I want to talk about, what do the people need to hear from us, and equipping our people in the church to be who they're supposed to be. And we're flip to the next one. As I said, I spent 24 years in the United States military. I was infantry and went over to armor, and I was also in aviation. But I think I started to look back, and I think the military, my whole process in my profession was preparing me for what I am now. I went into countries and tried to win the hearts and minds of people that didn't like me. Didn't like us. So that was very challenging and very hard to do. And immediately I also understood, it came to my attention that when the kids over, they can usually fill his pants. So we began to, like, when we were in country, we started to win the kids over. It's until you've been into a third world country. I've said this 100 times, and I probably need to quit saying it. I wish I could take the teenagers and the youth of our country and take them to a third world country and just drop them off there for a year or two, and they would come back. I would appreciate a lot more. Go what they have here. We took clothes, to families. You see their little kids come. They're mud houses, dirt floors. They would come out, not even got clothing on. We took clothes to the children and all that kind of stuff. And then you see the big palaces that their dealers live in. It's amazing. Gold door knobs, gold toilet handles. It's amazing. It's amazing. Then that says 24 years, but I actually spent, this was about trying to correct, but I actually spent 32 years in law enforcement. And I spent it in the city side, the county side, and like city kitty and the county mountie, and then with the state. Now I wasn't a state trooper, but I was with the SWAT K9 unit for the state. Talking about when you train a dog, I told you. I was in the K9 unit for 10 years. I trained dogs for 10 years. So I'll get that. I also did 3 years executive protection out in Hollywood, where I did executive protection for Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, Gene Hackman, and Miss Faye Dunaway. And I'll tell y'all, Miss Faye Dunaway is a character. I mean, she was, and I am a big Clint Eastwood fan. I mean, I love his movies. His westerns. I love them to death. I mean, I love. But I think Gene Hackman was the coolest one. He really was. Like when they were filming movies, you know, they have the extras. You know, the extras in the movies, and they bring these huge tents out there and catering, you know, things to cater the extras. And them extras would make good money. They make like minimum wage. I did in movies, but they would feed them out there. And Gene Hackman would come out there and sit with the extras. I mean, just sit with them and talk to them, just chat with them, man. And just. But I also did Tom Selleck and other actors. I was a personal bodyguard. What I do, I just work with the company. Like when they were filming the movie, they called me out to the location, and then I go out there and just feed them. On-site bodyguard, what they call them. So I did that. Faye Dunaway, I just didn't to tell you about her. She was actually filming during the movie, and they were doing a thing. And finally, she just grabbed a chair and just sat down and said she wouldn't film anymore. She was tired. This guy runs in, pulls her shoes off her feet, runs back to her house on wheels, I guess you could say, run back, grab that, he comes running back with another thing of shoes with some oil and lotion, and he oils her feet up and puts lotion on them and everything, and then puts her shoes back on her feet. I'm like, wow. Wow. But anyway, again, we got a heart. And law enforcement also served at any corrections. I was worked at the state prison for about 10 years. I do want to say, a lot of people say, "How you don't look that old? You're 23 years in the military, 32 years in law enforcement." I'll give you a quick breakdown of it. I joined the Army in '86 and got out in '89 and joined the Guard here in Mississippi when I came back. And then, of course, in May, Mississippi Guard got activated for Desert Storm. So I was right back in the regular Army again. And I was like, my goodness, you know, it must have been meant for me to stay in the Army. But the Army realized that the National Guard wasn't ready to be mobilized. So what they did, they put some regular Army people into the National Guard units to help them with their training and, you know, keep up with all that stuff, and readiness and stuff. So I said, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon, get back in the Army, because I was already filed as a sergeant. I said, and jump on that, and I can stay at home. So before we got activated for Desert Storm, I was going to the police academy, and I was in the 8th week of the police academy. You know, I got activated for Desert Storm. When I came back, I still had to go through the whole 10-week process of the police academy. They didn't let me start for 2 weeks. I had to go all the way back to the academy again. But anyway, so that's how I got my years in. I would go to the Army during the day and keep them up to date on readiness and stuff like that. Then I go work for the police department at mine. And that's how I got all my years in together. And then I still did have to leave every once in a while to Benning to do infantry training and stuff like that and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, all right, we're going to get to the next one. This is a verse. Oh, it did come out of date. You know, we, you know, as a body of Christ, are we really saying send me? Or are we just staying in the church? You know, I mean, that's another thing. And I, you know, I hear the conversations in church. I know my congregation probably doesn't think that I do, but I hear the gospel. You know, church when I walk by, and just like they said this morning, the guy, what was his name? The first guy was told Kenny. You know, he's, you know, talking about he's never gonna change. You know, I hear that. Well, I hear people say, well, they don't know any better. You just gotta know how they were raised. They don't know any better. You know, I hear that, and you know, and how many of us in the church are willing to go outside of the church? I mean, I stayed every Sunday morning. I say, let's not keep today what we learn, what we hear inside these walls. Take it with us. Tell someone else. Tell someone who needs to hear it. You know? And then people come to me in the church with a lot of ideas. Why don't our church do this? Why don't our church do that? Why don't, why don't we do this in the church? And why don't we do that in the church? And what, okay, well, what you got any ideas about going somewhere to do something? You know, there's in Maven, there's a place there, and I used to work as a police officer in Maven, but there's a place there called Contreras. And I've had answered some calls in there, I've had to go in there by myself and answer those calls. And I'll tell y'all this, the one incident I had was I was coaching Pee Wee football at the time. And I had to go in there for an incident, and the man pulled a knife out on me. Yeah, McBride Quarters.
No, you don't.
Yeah, McBride Quarters.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And a man pulled a knife on me, pulled my back there. Kids that I coached in football, Pee Wee. Ran anything that stood between me and that man. I mean, we just gotta get out there. You know? We can't look at these people because they live differently than what we do. You know? And who wants to be involved? You know, one of your church really wants to be involved. Talk, you can talk the good talk, not walk a good walk.
That's right.
You know?
Yes, sir.
You know? Some are serving for the title. I've seen that. Some serving for the title, and this is just me saying this, but I believe the only title we have is servant. I don't like it when if I'm out in public with someone, say you and I stand out here in public, we're just talking, having a conversation, and then someone else walks up, and you say, well, this is Brother Adam. You can say that. I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that, But really, have you ever noticed a different reaction when someone walks up and someone says, that's Brother Adam? Oh, yeah. You need me, well, it's good beating, obviously. I just call me Adam, I've even had this conversation, like, when we're having a conversation, someone says a curse word, and someone says, but man, he's a big pastor. Oh, I said, it's okay, man. Because I want the real you.
Yeah.
I don't want the fake you. I want the real you. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna call you to repentance, man. But I want the real you, Can you go ahead?
Because I ain't trying to call it thank you to repentance. I need to really.
Right. That's right. I'm not trying to call it thank you, dear friend. I need to really you. Well, what do people need to hear from the church? What do they need to hear? What's their care? What's their love? What is real love? But the man said it's not biblical love. Biblical love nowadays, my goodness. There's probably so many people that if you told last 10 people would love me, you probably get 10 different answers. What is it they want to hear? They want to hear the truth. The gospel's never changed. It never has. The world's changed, times have changed, this has changed, that has changed, but the gospel's never changed. And church leaders, even like myself, like I just said, I even hold myself accountable. We had a tendency, to think that, okay, well, this in church, it's holy, it's good, it's all right, fine. And everything outside the church is kind of the world, secular, we don't want to deal with it. We just don't, because I don't want to go, I tell y'all, when I was living out in the world, I was, when I quit high school, the first thing I did was I was at work at this, and we were still acting full service service station when I went to work there. I came out and pumped your air, take your hair, take your oil, wash your windshield. I did all that while I was getting your gas. And grew my hair real long, and I was listening. That's a funny story too, because I was listening to the band, and I thought they were just the greatest band in the world, and there was no band better than them. It was AC/DC, and all I wanted to do was get tattoos like Bon Scott and play the guitar like Amy. That's all I wanted to do. That was it. That was my dream. And the funny story is when I joined the Army, when they set me down in that chair, I had my long hair, and they set me down in that chair, and they took that clipper and they ran it one time down the middle, and then ran it one time to the side, and then they would walk back outside. And I had these 2 patches of long hair right here. In the military, baby, it's all a head thing. They just look at your head. But anyway, that was kind of funny. But yeah, we like to think, and so like you mentioned, when I pull into a service station nowadays, because I did pull into a service station one day, and this commercial was on. It was just an advertisement, but the advertisement was playing an AC/DC song. Now, I wasn't do that. But this lady saw me and then knew me, and she asked me, she said, "Aren't you a pastor?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "How do you listen to AC/DC?" My first thought was, okay, how do you know? No, actually, my first thought was, and I mean, it just came over me, sometimes it comes over. My first thought was to say loud, but I didn't. I didn't say that. I said, "Well, ma'am, it was just an advertisement. I didn't know anything. I wasn't actually playing, and but it's true. You see how people, they see that and they just grab it, and so it happens." Mm-hmm. All right, we have to help them find their story. You have to help them find their story. We need to help people know the big story of God and how it intersected their life, okay? Man, I'm sure every single one of us can have a great testimony. And that's another thing about accountability. It's a testimony, is, man, even Paul talked about testimony, I mean, I love hearing your testimony. The thing about it is I love seeing how God worked in that person's life. Some of them are just absolutely amazing. Amazing. I mean, I'll give y'all peace of mind. When I first came to Christ, I didn't totally commit. I know that maybe some people go, how you, I didn't quite totally commit. I quit drinking. I mean, my desire for drinking was like taken away from me. That's when I want just like these, just put it from me. But I still struggled with other desires. And it was one night that I was working. It was a rainy night, and I was like, I don't want to get on no truck, or I don't want to do anything. Don't let anything happen. And I got called to a wreck. This is joking before we get to my trip. But I was called to a wreck. When I pulled up on the scene, and the fire truck was there, and there was one vehicle rollover, and I already saw a body bag out on the road. So I knew the fatality had already happened. 2 firemen were sitting on the back of the fire truck, and I walked up to him. I said, "You okay?" And one of the firemen just looked up at me, and he said, "It's bad, Adam. It's bad." And I said, "Okay." And I walked around there. I'll jump forward again. The 2 parents were in the car. They were trying to get them out of the car. The body on the ground was a child. He was a 5-year-old boy. They loaded the 2 parents up in the ambulance, and they got the little boy and loaded him up in the ambulance too, and were taken to the hospital. I escorted them. Then they get to the hospital quicker. When I went to the hospital, the security guard was there, and the nurse came out and told us where they put the little boy, and said that the grandparents were on the way, but they hadn't told the grandparents anything. Not to talk to them, not to come out and talk to them. All the grandparents knew was that the parents had been in a wreck. They didn't know the extent what was what. So while me and the security guard there were sitting there talking, we heard a voice come out of the room. I need chills like reading. I don't remember this. We heard voices come out of the room. And when I walked in that room, me and the security guard was like, who got in there? How did they get in there? When we walked in, a little boy was sitting in bed.
Come on.
And he looked at me and that security guard and said, did y'all see that man? He was the most beautiful man I've ever seen. That was it. That was it. I went home that night, and I tell people this too, God speaks to me in dreaming. And that night when I was dreaming, God said, I took you to that vet, and I took you to the hospital, so you could see, witness what I was about to do. And he said, I told you what I called you to do.
Yeah.
And that's why I woke up and I fully committed, and then started preaching the gospel. So that story, and that's just a quick part of the testimony there, how he pulled me out of alcoholism. All right, you know, think of, now we get more welcoming out of gym nowadays than we do out of church. No, I mean, we go to a workout, man, I mean, they meet you, they greet you, I mean, you know, I got a great greeting at a restaurant the other night. I did. My wife and I, we were up in Tennessee. We were celebrating our anniversary. And we had, and you know, I want to make her feel like a queen, you know. So I saved up all my peanut money, you know. I made reservations at this bistro, boy, you know. At this, you know, at the nice bistro up in Tennessee, you know, we were around 54, you know, Gatlinburg area, you know. And this restaurant was in Townsend, Tennessee. And you get back there, man, we were walking up on it. I was going like, man, I hope I saved another money. You know, I may really have to become my Mexican self here and have to watch this at the time. But I got over there, I'm like, okay, and I mean, they had a fire pit outside. You could be like, ain't that small? In case you want to be, or you let his name, right? I mean, it was nice. It was real nice. It really was. And I went in there and said, yes, my name is Adam Contreras, and I made reservation 715. And they said, okay, yes, sir, we got you. We got your name. I'm like, hey, all right. You know, I mean, I've never done it before. I'm 58 years old. This is like my first time doing this. And then, so, well, 7:30 came. 7:45 came. So I got up and I said, I went in. My wife said, well, have they forgotten us? No. I said, yeah. So I walked in there and I said, excuse me, sir. He said, yes. I said, well, we have an reservation for 7:15. He said, you know, we haven't had a name card yet. And he looked and goes, oh. He said, sir, I'm so sorry. He said, someone answered your reservation. I said, really? He said, yeah. And I said, that was dirty. You know? All right. So he got, I didn't say that to him, I said it to myself, really. And he got me so, sir, I apologize, I'm so sorry, it was our fault. And I mean, how was it their fault? I don't know, because I mean, I don't know what they could have done, so maybe we see ID, sir, you know, but I don't know what else they could have done. But anyway, he said, we are so sorry, we apologize, but you know what, we're fixing to get you a table right now. And I was like, oh, I'm going to see this. They asked me to throw somebody out the door. So anyway, they got us a table, we went to sit down, and I mean, they started treating us like we were owners of the restaurant. I mean, they did. They bought us, now we don't drink, they bought us a free glass of champagne, then me and my wife just, you know, and then they bought us, what do you call them boards? And so, yeah, I can't go say it. I'm trying to say it, my wife laughed at me, so I don't know. So then they bought us a cheese board like that, and then they bought us our meal, and it was, you know, it was great. And they gave us a free dessert. I mean, they were like, oh, we're so sorry, and happy anniversary, and they took us, and they took pictures of us, like the fireworks and everything. I'm like, man. I said, now our church needs to do this. Now, this is the way we need, you know. So, anyway, yeah, we need to, you know, thank them for being there. And let them also know that we're all messed up. Yeah. We all. I mean, some of us more than others, but I mean, we are, you know. We're all messed up. You know, it was amazing because I thought my mom, I thought, woo, man, I tell you, Jesus, all about Jesus. See, I grew up in that time. See, my mom was all about Jesus and my dad was there. He was something else. And I always just wanted, Mom, how man you know? But you know, I even asked Mom one time, I asked her, I said, how do you not need the abortion? I mean, he's fine. This is no lie, I'm going to tell you something. Me and my brothers got together and we counted up how many half brothers and sisters we got. We got about 32. My mom said, when I made a covenant, when I got married, I made a covenant for God. And he was not going to break my covenant to God. I'm like, that's not easy. I just have to go with him, Mom. But you know, my mom was all about Jesus. That's what I'm trying to say. But I was amazed. I got amazed when I found out because I thought she was perfect all her life. Man, I'm like, oh yeah, man, if she don't pick the husband, I me. But and then I found out that when her and Daddy got married, they ran off and eloped. I was like, Mama! No! My whole life has been a lie. But you know, we're all messed up, you know. But God's grace is for everyone. Amen. God's grace is for everyone. Everyone. You know? And I try to tell that to people, man. I mean, I talk to people all the time, and I just, you know, I try to tell them about God's grace. And I got a brother, he's an alcoholic now. And, you know, I got to talk to him. He's gonna have one stroke, and I sometimes I'll be praying for him, man. And I just start crying for him. I'm telling you, I just, God. And then I even told God one time, God, show him his ugliness. Show him his ugliness. Let him see it. Let him see it. So maybe that'll help him, you know, maybe that'll cause him to come out of it. And, but you know, but he always told me, God, you don't know what I've done. Well, yeah, I do. Then maybe not everything. He does. He does. And it's great, you know, and it's great too, you know, when you talk about, you know, when you're doing things in the dark. I told God one time, I said, you know, when you're doing something and you think nobody's watching, you only have one audience. Sure. You only have one person, you only have one audience. But when it's for everybody. And then let them know, you know, that they belong. You belong. You do belong. We're not casting you out. God isn't casting you out. This is your choice. You know, God doesn't send you into hell. It's a decision that you make yourself. All right, where are we going and who are we talking to? You know, we must meet them on their playing field. I've always said this. I've always said home games are easy. I played football too. That's the other thing about when I was in high school. I was a 5-star athlete in high school. I know you can't tell it, but I really am. When I was a 5-star athlete in high school, I ran a 4.240. I was little. That's why I ran so fast. I'm a big guy, big me. You know, and I had scholarships. I had every school in the Southeastern Conference sending me offers. I went to go visit one of them. Some of them outside, even out of Oklahoma, which wasn't the Southeastern Conference team at that time. And they were ranked number 1 in the country. And I was out there and visited them. But I tell people all the time, home games are always the easy game. Look like the away game. What about when we go somewhere we have to be? You know, something like that. And anyone can be a good Christian at a conference, at a revival. Man, we're on fire. We're just lit up, right? We are just lit up. I see some people coming back from the Emmaus walking. Man, they're just, woo! What? I was serious, man. They were like, yeah, you know. I mean, you know, and I'll tell you, I forgot that, you know, when I was little, I come to the Southern Baptist Church. I was little, you know, and I was raised in the Southern Baptist Church, and I finally got went. But when I got saved in the Pentecostal church. and my people, so my people, it's so funny because my congregation, I even had people in my congregation ask me. I even had people in my congregation ask me, they say, like when we do our singings, you know, on the Sunday night, they go like that. I had a guy come and say, oh, nigga, I said, no, I'm not going to, man. I said, I don't do snakes either, so you ain't gotta worry about that. Where that snake thing came from, I don't even know. Yeah, you know, they come back from all these events. I mean, I admit, I went to a men's conference one time, when I was young. Well, wow, man, I came back from that men's conference. I was just all on fire. I mean, you know, and then just kindle. And that just, just kindle off. And that's one of the hardest things I've had to do as a pastor is check. Well, I was talking to another pastor, and he told me something that stuck in my mind. He said, do not get discouraged because the people of your congregation aren't as hungry as you are.
That's right.
He said, don't do that. He just said, you can only do as much as you can do, or what you have. Don't get discouraged. That's in the heart, man. All right. If we're going to go out here, you know, we might start preparing, you know, the weeks, maybe months leading up to, you know, our outreach thing. It's important to get the members involved. It's important to get them involved. You know, everybody wants to feel involved, everybody wants to feel wanted, everybody wants to feel important, and not just spectators. A lot of them just standing around. Homeless. How do you be with the homeless people? You run into much homeless people when you, believe this or not, I don't know that some of y'all may already know that DuPont is getting a number of homeless people. They really are. That's something I thought I didn't. I haven't been here long. I haven't been here 15 years. But I tasted one here. And I only been there because my wife was here to retire home. But in the 15 years I've been in DuPont, I've never seen a homeless person. And now I'm starting to see them more and more. It's more great. Now, and when we go to talk to them, it's just like me, you know, when I was out there and someone would come talk to me about Jesus and I was going through something hard, I didn't really want to hear the name Jesus. You know? I really didn't want to hear the name Jesus. So, does the homeless person want to hear the name Jesus? But that's what we left for, right? That's what we left for. So we need to know how. Like gangs. Dealing with gangs, I was in a street gang in Dallas, Texas, when I was a teenager. Okay. And was a part of my testimony. I was 14 years old and I was in jail. Killed a man. And a wild bankrupt. I didn't mean to hurt the man. I didn't mean to take his life. The man came to my cousin's house. He was trying to hurt my cousin. I ran out the front door. I knew my cousin kept a sawed-off 12 gauge in his car. I pulled him out to shoot, just try to scare somebody and get him down. And I pulled out and I just shot. And I just shot public yards. The shot hit him, took the man blind. I was sitting in jail at 14 years old. My mom came to me. I looked at my mom through the glass window. And I told her I need an attorney. I need an attorney, I need one now. And she said, I'm gonna pray for you, son. And I told her I don't need Jesus. I need an attorney. And it was mad.
Yeah.
I was mad. Now, weeks after that, I was let go because someone came forward and witnessed, you know, what had happened. My dad came down from jail, and they even told my dad, when he picked me up, they said, get in the car and don't stop in Texas. Don't stop in Dallas, don't stop in Texas. They're looking for me. And I was very looking for me. And I got my dad car, and he drove me. He didn't stop until he made to Arkansas, Mississippi line, I think. But anyway, I can tell y'all that story again. And then just in the world that we're living in, chaotic world, my goodness, y'all, it's hard getting things across to people. And they believe all these lies. I mean, I had an experience just the other day with a cousin of mine, someone I knew. I mean, and he made a post on Facebook. I strongly believe, it may not be right, but I strongly believe they shut down social media for about a year or two. We'd probably be a lot better at each other.
Yeah.
But he posted a thing that I knew it was false. I mean, I'm actually dealing with the situation he's talking about. I'm in a situation. So I sent him a message because I didn't want to embarrass him. I just said, hey man, you busted with a lie. It's not true. I didn't want to bust him out. So I messaged him and told him. And he sent me back and said, no, from what you're talking about was posted by a right-wing media, social media page, and they're lying. And I said, wow, And I just said, okay, man. I said, I don't rely on left-wing or right-wing social media. I said, I rely on myself and I do my own research, search my own truths. I said, but okay, I'm not going to sit there and argue with you. But, the world that we live in is they have people so blind. So blind. I saw a lady the other day that made a statement, just because someone commits a crime doesn't make them a criminal. Well, maybe somebody commits a crime doesn't make them a bad person. All right, what can we do for the homeless if we come upon? Okay, of course, we can take everybody some water, take them some protection from the weather. I think I'm over TVA now. TVA has a program. We got coats. We got to get up all these coats together and take them to the homeless. Food, give them a gift card. Go somewhere and buy them a $25 gift card or something. Give them a gift card and then take the time to get to the Lord. I know this young guy. He was a young pastor, and he got invited to this huge conference. And it was a huge conference, a couple of thousand people. A few thousand people actually. And he was excited. He'd been a pastor for maybe about a year and a half. And he was like, man, I can't believe I'm getting invited to this conference, I'm on, wow. And so he got up there, he got him a band together, worship group. And so they were going and they practiced for months and months and months. And he was like on fire, and he was like, man, I'm going to get over to this conference, I'm going to save so many people, and, it's just going to be great, it's going to be a wonderful thing. And so his time came, and he got up on the stage. And he got up on the mic and he said, no sound. No sound. So they said, wait a minute. The crew came out there, checked all the things, checked chords, checked everything, no sound. And the pastor, he was just looking right at it. But today, this was my moment, And he was just getting angry. And finally, they said, we're sorry. We don't know what the problem is. We can't figure it out. And so they had to cancel the show. And the pastor was, just extremely upset. And he was sitting on the stage and he saw this McDonald's. He said, well, I'm going to walk over that McDonald's and give me something to eat, I guess. And he started walking to that McDonald's. And as he was walking, he wasn't paying attention to where he was going, and he stumbled, and he looked back at this homeless man laying on the ground. And the homeless man said, man, watch where you're going. He was mad, so he just waited on line, walking to the restaurant, walking to McDonald's, got him something, he'd come out from McDonald's. Then the homeless man said, excuse me, sir. And the pastor said, how you feeling? Something to eat, he was mad, he was upset. He didn't care about nothing anymore, he didn't care about nothing. And the pastor turned around and said, yeah. And the homeless man said, look, wait a minute. He said, you're the guy that was standing on that stage. And the pastor said, yeah, I was. Yeah, I was. He said, no, you don't understand. He said, when you got on that stage, I was on top of that roof over there. And I was about to jump off that roof. He said, I had told God, I said, well, God, if you could shut that man's mouth right now, I want to know.
Like,
And he said, Pastor Billy? And he said, yeah. He said that, and it don't end there. And the pastor said, what do you mean? He said, I also told God, I said, and if you really love me, you'll feed me tomorrow. And that pastor said, here you are. He gave him his lunch, or his supper, whatever it was. And then that pastor, he started to weep. Wow. That pastor started to weep, and he told him, he said, they said, okay. He said, well, what's wrong? That pastor said, you know what, I thought I was coming here to save thousands of lives. And God sent me here to save this one. That's amazing. So let's go ahead, let's go. Okay, I only got 10 minutes, man. So, all right, tell you the gospel of hard places. Well, yeah, we got, the community faith.